Hello, spiritual seeker. Welcome to the Creative Mystic Podcast. And this is Deepa Liu, and I'm the Creative Mystic. And today I'm here in my altar space. I got a divine download this morning of what I was to share with you to help you, in your spiritual growth and helping you start with the three most important superpowers, your God-given superpowers that you have at your fingertips. But as usual, I want to start with lighting a candle. I should say that's what's usual with my morning spiritual practice, what I call my sadhana. It's a Sanskrit word. But I wanted to light the candle, and I want you to light this candle, or light the candle in your own heart of connecting with these three God-given superpowers that you've been given. I'm not going to talk about all three of them in great depth today, but we're going to talk about the one that I got a divine download, and then in future episodes I'm going to talk to you about the other two, so that you can actually learn how to utilize these superpowers, these God-given superpowers that you were given in your life to actually create a life you love, to step into being the spiritual being that you are, and that powerful being that you are, that if you're listening to this, that you must be ready to do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be tuning into this episode, okay? So let's just light this candle, and light the candle in your heart of your intention of being able to master, to utilize, to use this superpower we're going to talk about today to actually create a life you love and let your greatness out. Because, I'm always saying greatness is within you. It's time to let it out. And that's the thing is, Spirit, God, Buddha, Allah, whatever you call your higher power, has given you these superpowers so that you can actually create in your life and in the world what you're desiring to see. And the more that we step into this truth of who we are and why we're here on the planet, the more we're going to see transformation in our own lives and on the planet. All right? So let's just light this candle with this intention of being able to use, this superpower in a way that Spirit meant you to use it. Because unfortunately, what I've found is that most people use these superpowers unconsciously. So let's just light this candle as the intention of using your superpowers as they were intended to be used. And if you're just listening to this, just imagine the flame, that you've just lit the flame of being able to use your God-given superpowers in the way they were intended to, for you to step into your powerful self, and to knowing that you can create a life that has meaning, that has purpose, that allows you to step into what I call your holy calling, which is your purpose that's here to help impact the world positively in some way. Okay? So great. So today I was in my spiritual sadhana, meditating, chanting. Actually I was chanting when this came to me, that I got the divine download of that, to talk about the power of your voice. We have these three superpowers. Now we have more superpowers than three, but there's three that can transform you and your life when you actually learn how to utilize them in a way that makes a difference in your life. There's the power of your voice, which I'm using right now as I'm speaking, okay? The power of choice, which I talk about often, and the power of your intellect. These are three God-given superpowers that we have that not all the creatures in the world have, okay? Now, animals have the power of voice in that dogs bark, cats meow, and they have a form of communication with each other. So it's not that they don't have a voice. But I don't believe that I see where they live in the realm that they live in, that they use it for creating necessarily the life that they love or what they want to see in the planet. So the download that I received was to talk to you about, because this power of your voice, like when you get up into your morning and you do your spiritual practice in the morning. So if you watched my first spiritual tips for your spiritual practice episode, you know, I talked about one of the ways you start your day for success is to do a morning spiritual practice. Whatever you believe in. You know, it's not about doing what I'm doing necessarily. I'm going to give you tips and things to help you make your spiritual practice so that you can go into your day with the right energy, you know, with the right intentions, so that you can actually, rather than letting life happen to you, be creating the life that you really truly desire and what you want to see in the world. You know, especially now, it's really important that we have intentional living. And the way that I find that is the best is to start your day with a spiritual practice. And I talked about that last time. But how do you use this superpower, this God-given superpower that's at your fingertips, that's waiting for you to use it in the way that your higher power intended you to use it, okay? Now, unfortunately, most people are kind of unconsciously competent with the power of the voice. And what I mean by that is not that you don't know how to speak and use your voice, but you kind of use it unconsciously, right? You don't consciously choose your words all the time. You don't consciously think about what you're creating with your words, because your words are really powerful. They create outwardly and they create inwardly. They can create like how you feel. So your self-talk of what you're saying to yourself. Now those might, sometimes you verbally talk to yourself, right? I know I do. Sometimes we all sometimes talk to ourselves. But it's also, you know, the words that are going on in your mind, because words have a vibration. Okay, each word that exists in the universe has a particular vibration. And the words that you're choosing to use that come out of your mouth, that come into your thoughts, are creating each and every moment, okay? And so we've been programmed from little kids that, this thought just came in and you had nothing to do with it. You can't stop it. You can't change it. And then the words that come out of your mouth, you know, a lot of people grow up around parents and they do the best they can because they got programmed too, okay? So I'm not condemning parents. Parents do the best they can. There's no, you know, training book on how to actually live the spiritual truths and laws, and you know how to use your power of your voice, because you know we've been trained with falsehoods, with untruths, and so they just get passed down from generation to generation. But the important part is that you start to realize, first of all, the first realization that's going to start to change you and your life is that I have a power of my voice. I have this powerful voice, and every word I'm speaking, every word I'm thinking is creating. Now, this isn't about beating yourself up, because right now you don't understand enough to be able to change those thoughts necessarily, okay? But you probably have enough awareness to think before you speak. You know, it was one of the biggest things I started practicing when I became Buddhist and got on the spiritual path. You know, now I'm interfaith, but was that I started to chant, to think before I speak, because I learned in my spiritual practice of Buddhism about how powerful your words are. They can create more love. They can create more hatred. You know, you see it in the world, in the media. You know, so you get to choose what those words are that you speak. You know, and those are like I said, there's three main big superpowers I'm going to talk about over the next few episodes. It's the power of your voice, your power of your choice, and the power of your intellect. And all three of them I see being misused quite frequently in the world, okay? And I honestly, you know, I don't perfectly do it either, you know, when I don't get enough sleep or I feel tired, right? Sometimes, whoop, something pops out of your mouth and you kind of go, well, why did I say that, you know? But the thing is that you can use your power of voice to correct it. by apologizing, by making amends, by saying, oh, I'm sorry I said that, I was really tired. Let me be more intentional with my words, and apologize and communicate what you really meant to communicate, which is not necessarily your frustration. And that's usually why people say words they don't mean, is because they're frustrated in some way, they feel unheard, their buttons are pushed, and poof, something pops out in reaction, not from consciously choosing and thinking about the intention that they want to create. So in your spiritual sadhana, you're probably going like, okay, well, how's this going to affect my spiritual practice? Okay, it's you want to use your power of words to invoke the divine presence, right? Why do we do our spiritual practices? We do them to grow spiritually, we're hoping it transforms us in some way so that most people think better person. I don't like to use the word better. I know that's why I started. But now I've been really trying to step into this. I want to not be better, but true. Like I want to be my true self. And it's this continual growing path of how do I step into being who I truly am, not what my parents wanted me to be, what my parents tried to program me to, what they thought was a good person, but what's true. And that's a continual daily process of stepping into what's my truth, what's spiritual truth, what's my truth, because we've been programmed with these things that are not true. And so how do you start to use your power of your words to be able to go into your life and start to transform how you're being in the world, what you're creating in the world, most of all, what you're creating in your own life and in the world that's affecting everybody else, okay? So what I do is, if you know, I'm started on the Buddhist path many years ago, and that was from chanting. I started chanting a Buddhist phrase. Now I chant my Buddhist phrase, which has been with me, since I was a young adult. I chant it every day, every morning, every evening. It is the thing that brings me back into what I call my Buddha nature, what Buddhism calls your Buddha nature. You have a Buddha nature. You might call it something different. You might call it your God self, your higher self. You call it your higher power. But you have a Buddha nature, a part of you that knows the truth, that knows and connects to what I call the all-knowing universe, the ethers, where everything that we want to create in life exists, okay? That part, it gives clarity. It takes away the fear at that moment. You know what's clear in that moment, but then what happens is you get out into the world and get bombarded with everybody else's voices, especially if you're an empath. It can be especially challenging when you get out into the world and you haven't learned how to stay strongly centered in yourself. It's one of the things that I work on with any of my empath clients, is how do you stay centered as an empath when you can feel everybody else's feelings and know what they're feeling, okay? But your power of your words, of how you use them when you first get up, sets the tone for the rest of the day. And that's what people don't realize, is that how you arise and get up and what you focus on in the beginning is setting the tone for your energy and vibration throughout the day. So what I use with my power of voice is I use mantra. I do my Buddhist chant. I also do different Sanskrit chants, because I find that one thing about mantra is it's not just your own power of voice that you're invoking. You're invoking the power that has been created by all the millions of people and millions of monks and swamis and Buddhists and Hindus and yogis and everything else that have used, interfaith people who have used these mantras to transform themselves, to transform the world. That collective energy is at your fingertips when you use the power of mantra to transform how you feel, to transform what you're thinking. And that's the thing, is that, I'm a big meditator too, okay? I believe in meditation. It raises your level of awareness, okay? But if you're having a bad morning, or you're feeling upset about something that happens in your day, because the thing about mantra and your power of your voice is you can utilize it any time of the day. Now, I'm recommending you start your day this way because it gives the energy of what you're bringing into your day, okay? But if, let's say, something happens later in your day, and it's like something happens that upsets you, you use mantra to get back to, that good place, that connected place to divine presence. Because often when you're upset, it seems really hard, like you almost feel like you have no power to change what you're thinking and feeling, but yet you do. When you use the power of your voice, to use a mantra, to speak words of love and kindness rather than hate and frustration, it shifts and changes you. And the thing about when it's your own voice and you voice it out loud, that voice is vibrating, your voice box is vibrating within you, so it's changing the vibration of the cells of your body, of your mind when you do it. And so it's easier for us to do something tangible while we're in a human body. So that's why your power of your voice is so powerful if you use it in the way it was intended. Because your higher power, spirit, God, Buddha, intended you to use your voice, the power of your voice, to create what you desire, not what you don't desire. And what most people are doing with the power of the voice is they're complaining about what bugs them. And I've been there, okay, and I catch myself now. Oh, stop. Let me stop complaining. What do I want to create, okay? Because we've been programmed to complain. We hear it from the time we're little kids. I heard it from the time I was a little kid. My parents complaining, okay? You probably did too, right? Yeah, love to hear. Yeah, a lot of kids grow up with parents complaining. And that's so you don't even know you've been programmed to complain, which is using your power of voice in a way it wasn't intended to be used. It was meant to be used to create what you want, to speak about what you desire, what you love, what you want to create in the world, because then that vibration goes out into the world, okay? So even if you're not interested in mantra, now I'm recommending mantra. Now I'm not going to give you a mantra at this point to use. I might do that in the next episode, I think, because Divine Mother didn't give me that download of what to give. I think I'll have to ask that, like what mantra might be good for people who are new to mantras, okay? So I might be probably doing that in the next episode because we're going to talk more about your power of your voice and your choice and how that works together. But what I want you to do right now, if you're up for the challenge to start to own, is to own my power. Say, I'm going to own my power of my voice, and I'm going to start just changing this one slight thing. Is in my daily life, I'm going to catch myself when I'm complaining and switch it to words of what I want to create rather than what I don't want, which is complaining, which is creating more of that. So we want to stop that and use it for what we want. Now, an easy way, if you're not into mantras or don't know mantras, to use your power of voice first thing in your spiritual sadhana is to speak your prayers aloud, okay? Give it voice. Say it out loud. Invoke the presence. Like my prayer, I say, Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, Great Spirit of the Universe. And then I invoke my spirit guide, my main spirit guide. I have lots of spirit guides that come to me. And then I see spirit guides for you and other people. But as I invoke Mother Mary, because Mother Mary is my main spirit guide that's been coming to me now for quite a while. And she's the one that really guides me in the downloads. But you can invoke whatever spirit guide. Yours might be Archangel Michael, it could be a spirit animal, but use your voice to invoke them. So I say it out loud. Mother Mary, Mystic Law, because Mystic Law is what I first got on the spiritual path with, okay? And then I invoke the 5 masters from the path of Yogananda, because that was what introduced me to yoga, to the yogic path. So do that prayer out loud in the intention of what you desire to create that day in your life. So for like me and I want to create, like blessings in the world and stepping into my holy calling and being my true self, my spiritual true self, whatever that desire is, that positive desire that's going to create more joy and truth and love in your life, because that will have a ripple effect out into the world. All right? So my challenge to you is to start to consciously be aware of your words. And if you see yourself complaining, shift. Okay, that's the one out in the world. Now, in the morning spiritual practice, I recommend, like I said, using the power of prayer to make your intention. And I'd love to hear if any of you are interested in actually, what mantras would be good mantras, and give me some feedback of like, where are your challenges? Because the really amazing thing about Sanskrit mantras is they have mantras for specific issues if you're having them. I'm going to ask Mother Mary which one she wants me to share with you for the next episode. All right? Have a miraculous day, and remember, greatness is within you. It's time to let it out. Blessings.